Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald, Barrington, Robinson, and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours a day. Please welcome my very talented co-host, Mrs. Jackie Williams.
Hello, everyone.
And
good afternoon, Jackie and Ron.
And
good
Mr.
to be here.
Henry Hatter.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. And welcome to our millions of viewers worldwide. Let's talk about Puerto Rico's shameful situation. Why has not Puerto Rico gotten the same attention as did Houston and Florida and other Gulf states as a result of devastating hurricanes? Hundreds of thousands are still without adequate food, power, and drinking water. Puerto Rico is American, and people there that live there are Americans. Henry, why isn't Puerto Rico, even though it's about 1,100 miles offshore, but it's still it's still a protected, it's still American? Why isn't it that at this stage, okay, we're going on 3 weeks a month, and half of the island is still without power, lights, okay, food, and cleanup is, many of the roads are impassable. I don't understand that. Okay, I mean, you have the whole resources of the United States. I mean, there's supplies just sitting there in big old transport trucks on the docks, and why aren't them doggone roads clean so that these supplies can get to the people that need this stuff? These are American citizens. Okay, they have fought and died for America. Why not give them the same respect as you did Houston and New Orleans and other places in the United States?
And there are two equal and opposing arguments. You cannot really, if you cannot stand on one side or the other, and you must understand one or both sides. First of all, Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. It is not a province like any other state. It does not have the right to vote, and part of the reason that that we have not responded equally as we would in any of our compositional states to the mainland is because there's an ocean between us, and it's difficult to send goods and product and personnel to Puerto Rico with no land bridge. And that's one of the things. And if American people who lived on the mainland had been secondly served, there would probably been close to revolution. People on the mainland look at themselves as major recipients of all American goods and services. So people who live in the provinces and territories of the United States should not expect the same kind of services. And there's the argument that this country is made up of people of color. That's the opposing argument. And therefore, they don't deserve or receive the same kind of service equally. But I think that there's something to be said for the American citizens who expect to be served first, because we are privileged by being on the mainland. But I sympathize with the people who are still living there. And I do believe that conditions are getting better. And even though they have to wait their time, it's just like if Flint is the center of business activities in the county, center of education, the center of civic life. If we had an incident somewhere in Clio, people in Flint would take care of themselves first, and then they would move out. It's that kind of a negative outlook.
Well, see, I have an argument with that. I have a problem with that argument. If we can send tens of thousands of troops 6,000 to 10,000 miles to other countries and build those countries up, why can't we simply, do the same thing Okay, and those people that when we send those ships and boats, I mean, in big old freighter airplanes and whatever you call them. Okay, to you know, thousands of miles to a total different country and build that country, roads, infrastructure, schools, okay, and everything else that they need. You mean to tell me we can't send the same things to Puerto Rico to help those people?
Oh, God, that's a good point. But those are strategic moves that we must keep alive as we battle in other lands for the control of territories or protection of the people.
Henry, we've been on the same team all day, but I just got to part with you right
Sure.
here. So this is what I would say to that. There are several issues. Behavior. Because we set the tone as Americans. We
Sure.
set the tone.
Sure.
And when you have a president that is not setting the tone as a mature adult and saying things that are appropriate, you finally make it to Puerto Rico, you're throwing paper towel at them. This is not the behavior that we expect for the leading country to do where everybody is watching.
But it's the truth, though, Jackie. This is what Americans expect who live on the mainland.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
your behavior.
Yeah.
Because
I hear you.
if
I
we
hear you.
taint our behavior, if we change our behavior, we'll change our reception.
Yeah.
And so his respect factor was very low. He was very disrespectful when he was there because he never really addressed the person that had been handling stuff, which was the mayor. And then the other thing was, they had a lot of material there. So to me, it was an organizational problem because they had a lot of material on the dry land waiting to get to them. But the way that we get it to everybody else is through drones. And guess what we had?
Trucks. Trucks is a major...
Well, I'm saying, but we have drones that can
Yeah.
drop. And this is what they were talking about. So people were donating their stuff, but it was an organizational issue. So I think the person that was handling that, it was too big for the task, was too big for them. And then the other thing was, because they didn't have drinking water available, a lot of people got really sick.
Yeah.
And this was the saddest part that I was watching a report that they had it's called a United States ship hospital. Am I correct?
Yes.
It's a hospital that was sitting in the middle of the water while these people are suffering. It never went to the island. It just sat there while people were sick with no patients on it. Doctors waiting. You know what they were getting done? They were getting pedicures. They were tainting the areas because of the chemicals from the pedicures and the manicures. They were treating themselves to a day at the spa. So that's why one of the doctors quit. Because she said, you got people hurting and we have people abusing American dollars. So you had a big ship in the middle of the water that could have came over and housed, I think it can take up to 200 patients, and there was enough doctors with no patients, but they were getting manic. So we're just talking about not being responsible with the things that they get.
I hear
not
you.
being a good steward of the
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
But the same kind of hurting was going on in Texas and all those coastal states in the United States. People were crying all the time about needing more help, new water, medical attention,
Do you know
and
how
so
long
on
we
and so
stayed in
forth.
Katrina? Do you know how long we stayed in Katrina?
I
We
don't
stayed
recall.
5 years in
Yeah,
Katrina.
yeah.
Your president is talking about our president, because I want to correct that, because he is my president,
Yes.
whether I like what he
Thank
does. He is talking about pulling out. You're not even gone from Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida happened.
But that's a tweet. We can't believe everything that
Well, what
that
other
are
communication
policy.
did we have?
It has to go through a policy canal.
I understand, but I'm saying, what other communication did we have?
Well, you don't take
'Cause
everything.
they
as
said
a
they used the
model
tweets.
truth.
Am I correct? They say use
Yeah.
the tweets as an
Yeah.
official, right? So
You
am I
can't-
not to do
You
it today?
cannot do that.
It just Monday through Friday, take it, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, don't listen. I mean, what am I to do?
See, Jackie, in all fairness to government, American government, which, and on average, do a good job in serving the American people, but you can't always take instantaneous thoughts from any one individual, no matter who that person is, as the gospel. There's a process and there are procedures
But in the
and there are
previous
standards.
years, the president of the United States, when he spoke,
Yeah.
we could use that information and we know that he meant it. So this is my point. This is what I'm saying. There are several issues here. I mean, because a lot of stuff we can tame with our tongue. If we could tame the tweets that are
That was
disrespectful-
unfortunate that he did that.
Yeah,
That
and if
was
we can
unfortunate.
tame that will allow us to begin to heal. And I mean, I keep saying the same thing is because America needs to heal, and this is why so many things are out of order. Is because we don't have guidelines of when we need to stop.
Well, and here's one other thing that makes the situation bad from a perspective of policy, diplomacy. Puerto Rico had tremendous amounts of debt. They couldn't deal with the debt. Americans don't need to go in and take care of other people's debt, okay? Any more than Flint, Michigan needs to try to take care of its debt. We have responsibilities, and Puerto Rico has the same kind of responsibility to manage its debt. And Americans in general don't like overspending and debt.
Well, it's also not so much Puerto Rico's fault. It's all about these hedge funds, all right, that invested money over there and it's taken millions, actually billions of dollars out of that country, okay, and put them into their own pockets.
I'm sorry, I'm a clarification queen. Can you give them a clarification on what a hedge fund is?
Bank notes.
Okay.
I guess that's the most simplest way to explain it, all right?
But they were terribly in debt.
Taking all of that money, you know what I mean? That's just like...
And one of their biggest investors pulled out, which was Donald Trump. He had a hotel that he was approved for over in Puerto Rico, and they gave him all types of tax breaks, and they did all of that stuff, and he never built anything, and it put them in the red even more.
Exactly.
It might have contributed to it, but I'm not sure that it was all.
No, it wasn't all him, but I'm saying, but he contributed to it by not following through, so I'm sure they had...
But I think Americans need to know that the country is in charge. There's a process that goes on. You can have a leader at the top, and the leader could be well intended to do the right thing, but it's still the bulk of the American people that drives this country. And so we should not condemn American government, for what one person does.
But we have to condemn this situation here, all right? People are dying over there in Puerto Rico, okay? These are American citizens. People are dying over there that have served the military with distinction. Okay, they have died for America. All right, they need help and they need it yesterday.
And
regardless of how much money that country's in debt.
Well, that's not the way the American people look at it.
But it has to be.
You must be able to live within your means and control your
government
expenditure.
This is a devastation. You can't control a devastation because and that's why you need the government to come in. You can't control this. This is something.
I'm glad you made that point.
You know
this is a devastated country in this situation, not of its own choice.
Right,
exactly.
Right. And right today, just so you'll know, there is not over half of the electricity restored. There is only, I think they're at 80. I mean, they're 80% still out.
And that first company given the authority to go back in and correct this, who stole the money, ran with it. I don't know how you deal with that.
That was a political move, all right. You got some country, I mean, some business that nobody knows about in the middle of nowhere with 2 employees.
I think it was from Michigan, wasn't it?
They get it. No,
was it from Michigan?
No, it's Utah or somewhere out
we
west.
We got enough stuff going on in Michigan. Stop that, Harry.
Okay. 2 employees. They got a sweetheart contract for $300 million.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
well,
and then Puerto Rico is saying no, we don't want over there because this just is another scam to screw more money out of our country.
And what you're saying along the lines with what you're saying, Henry, I agree. You said government, but what it is not just in Puerto Rico, but this has been a problem along the way.
But then we need,
is that we need to check our policy and
Yeah.
procedure, because how in the world, in a situation of a devastation where you have over 95% outage, do you hire a company without the manpower? How do you do that?
I don't know who hired it. Was it the
I don't know who.
president
Somebody
or
in,
his
government,
organization?
in Trump's government.
Was it
All
FEMA?
right.
Does FEMA take care of that
I don't know
part
who
too?
made that decision to hire this company,
Okay.
but they reversed it a couple of weeks ago, and now
But we
they're.
didn't get the money back.
I can't help. I
Did we?
mean, I don't see
Okay.
through that because I don't know all the ins and outs.
And see, that's where, and that was the other thing too, is that the infection that they're receiving is just because the water is not clean. And they were saying, once again, with that ship sitting in the middle that has something that can purify the water, it's something on the ship that purifies the water. So while you're doing a pedicure, all these people need to be accountable to the taxpayers.
But what is on the retrofitting technology on the ship would probably not be big enough to handle all of Puerto Rico.
But it would be able to handle the people that were sick, because they
Yeah.
said the
Yeah,
people
right.
that were sick, they had means, because I think they have 200 beds. I'm not sure. I don't want to quote it, but we can, you can find the information on the internet or you'll hear it on the news. I think they had 200 beds where nobody was occupying the beds. So instead of servicing the people that you were sent to do, you were servicing yourselves. And what I'm saying is, in times like these, people need to be held accountable for bad choices. Like I said, that doctor quit because she was telling them there is abuse on this boat. They're not going into where the areas are damaged. They're not seeing any patients. I quit. I don't want to be a
Well,
part of this.
there's a central command that makes these decisions. She can't make them. It has to be a policy-driven
But she can tell
process.
that the process is not working.
Yeah, but she might have damaged that process.
And
You know,
and the person that was
right.
put in charge, all right, had no experience with this. Even the general that took charge of Katrina, all right.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He even said that on what, CNN or Fox or whatever. They should have sent in the 101st, the 87th Airborne Division, like they did in New Orleans. They have the structure. They know how to do this.
Yeah,
Okay.
Corps of Engineers.
They
and
know
stuff
how
like
to get things together, the equipment and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, because
All right?
they reported the death toll. You can't report a death toll when you don't have electricity to be able to see
I
anything.
think that was less than 100 people.
But I'm
Wait,
saying,
maybe
is it
just
complete
a few
already
people.
though?
No, I don't know that.
You know what I'm saying? It can't be
Yeah.
complete if you can't get everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it hasn't
And that's
been
a big
cleaned up, because it's
country,
not cleaned up.
you
Yeah.
know?
So we don't know
And
what the
most
number is.
of the death tolls would be in big cities where people live close
No,
together.
well, that could be
Yeah.
true too, but on outlying areas too. It's very rugged in country and mountainous.
But people
in
know how to
different-
survive out
in
there.
different places.
But in cities where you have storm sewers and sanitary sewers and
So it's more dangerous in that
oh
kind of
yes,
place
without a doubt.
versus when it's like
yeah,
desert
it's
area.
the cities
Okay.
where it should take priority there. And I don't understand. Like you say, there should have been some discussion, and I'm not sure that the mayor or the governor didn't exacerbate the situation by making it political.
But look
She
at the
probably ticked
devastation.
off
Even
some people in the United States who had those kind of authority. And government itself is very sensitive to criticism.
But I agree with the mayor of Puerto Rico. All right, she's thinking about her country and the people in her country.
But there's a way
She
you
don't
do
give
it.
a damn about President Trump.
No,
all
but
right?
there's a way you do it. There's a way you
See?
meet the State Department.
Well, she-
But we have to set the stage.
Yeah.
As a leader,
Yeah.
regardless to if he wants to deal with the leadership title when he wants to and when he doesn't, President Trump is the leader of the United States.
Yeah.
He is supposed to set the stage for how business is conducted.
And he's the
how he
leader of
should-
those people
He's the
of that
leader
country,
of
too.
not just the people that he chooses to be the leader of. He's a leader of all American people, whether they can vote, whether they can't vote, whether they live in a territory, whether they live on the land. He is responsible for the well-being of all of that, and he is to oversee it just like he sees everything else. He can't play favorites over here and not pay attention over here. And so what I'm saying saying is people have sensitive issues, and I know when you are in the dark, I can only imagine being in the dark for months, and then somebody is telling you that you need to be patient where their lights are on. It's an insensitive conversation to have with somebody.
I agree. But Jackie, let's put it in this context. Let's say that you and your husband and family were out spending your means. So, and you're having fallout from that. Bad debt, sickness, lack of funds, food, etc. Do you think the government will come to your aid?
But how has that got to do
Look, hold that now.
Puerto Rico?
If you're in debt, a country is no different than an individual. When you get in debt, the country, which is built of all the people and their attitudes, they have a framed view of people who go into debt and can't live within their means. It doesn't care whether you are an individual living on the mainland or you're living in Puerto Rico.
I disagree, because when Miami-Dade, which is a very...
What kind of evidence do you have for disagreeing?
I disagree because...
You disagree on principle.
Yeah, I disagree because in Miami-Dade, which is a very poor area of Miami, when they had the hurricane and they had the damage, guess what they got? They got assistance.
Yeah.
They got...
The mainland.
They got assistance. They are in debt beyond.
Yeah.
Because
they're on the mainland.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They're in debt. So my point is, they still had people there to meet their needs, regardless to if they were in debt. They were in need. That was the key. They're in need. So what America is saying to our president and to our government, we need to help our people. Our people is in Puerto Rico, whether they can vote, whether they can't vote, whether they can look at it or not. We need to help them because America is watching and the surrounding nations are watching, and it's not making us look very good.
Well, other nations ought to come to their aid as well, because we go to everybody else's aid.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you, but they're not going to.
But you know, it's just like...
Especially when we won't even do it.
Yeah, it's like Flint. Flint needs help too.
Bad.
And it needs money. And yet, people have to wait. You can't respond to every crisis without a plan.
We're not asking you to respond to every crisis. We're asking you to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it.
I regret that.
Yeah, acknowledge it, because if you acknowledge, then that makes me feel better. That makes me not go after you.
You can believe that Flint, Michigan, once it comes from its crisis, will never go there again.
Oh,
and Puerto Rico may do well.
Especially after the movie.
But Flint has not been hit with a devastating hurricane.
No, it hasn't.
All right.
But
Puerto Rico has.
But we lost a lot of when you watched the movie last weekend.
Flint,
when you watched the movie last weekend, we have lost a lot of residents because of the water situation, which pulls from our income, which pulls from our jobs, which pulls from, so it does hurt us.
I don't mean to change the subject, but I wanted to make an analogy, comparison. I want the people of Flint to listen to us, because we have to be responsible for managing the city in a responsible way.
Right.
Well, and I hope that the people in Puerto Rico will know that the rest of the world is looking at their debt. And there's certain things that you can't live with.
Their debt and their devastation.
Yeah.
You're looking at their debt, and I'm looking at their devastation.
Well, I agree with that. I'm supportive of what you said, what you guys are saying. But I'm also looking at the picture.
But the difference is in Puerto Rico versus Flint. Flint didn't do it to themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
The government did it to us.
Yeah.
The government did it to us. We were prosecuted by the government without our knowledge. We were poisoned without our knowledge. We were lied to. We were mistreated without our knowledge, and we're still suffering in 2017. And I thank the people that did the movie, because again, I don't want it to die. I don't want the push to die for us to clear this matter up, because we're still struggling with this matter. We still can't use the water without a filter, so we're still here.
But Jackie, if it were up to me, and I was the mayor of the city of Flint 10 years from now, you would be certain that I would never let the city go into a deficit mode. I would never do that. And I would want people surrounding me to make sure that we manage our system in a way that is always capable of delivering services from the people. I mean, for the people. Not wait on the government to do it, or Lansing, or the federals, or poor people to donate more money to it, but I would make sure the city is managed in such a way that's respectable.
And then we wouldn't have an emergency manager because it wasn't managed by the city, it was managed by the state, and it was an emergency
But before
manager.
then.
No.
Hang on, that was the time that we were
Yeah,
independent.
we did it, but I'm saying during this crisis time, we had an emergency manager.
Yeah, I know.
So we had no control.
Yeah, but let's go back before then. We were really
We had come up because there was a surplus at one time.
we have been going downhill
Yeah.
for years, and nobody would take the step to say we need to have a tax rise in Flint to restore its income, or that we need to cut back on salaries and wages, and we need to cut back on people who work for the city. We need to save the money so that our city is capable of operating by itself without outside support.
But when you have incompetence at the top, all right?
Yeah, that's where you're going.
When you have
Incompetence at the top.
incompetence at the top,
We can't
you're gonna
excuse
always
people for
have
that.
this, all
Yeah.
right?
Whether it's
Regardless
the
of-
governor or whether it's
or the president, all right?
or the
In my-
president or
In my
Anybody,
opinion,
yeah.
Trump is a racist and a serial liar. My comments are: America has not fulfilled its creed of equality, humanity. We must keep always the doors open for others to come through equally. Justice and humanity must always be challenged. Food for thought. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice.
what a great quote.
I want to thank our millions of viewers worldwide, my great technical staff,
Is this plagiarized?
and it might be. I got it from you.
No, it's a great quote.
Okay.
It's a great quote.
I want to thank Ms. Jackie Williams and Mr. Henry Hatter. And I want to thank, again, our millions of viewers worldwide. This is Ronald Barrington Robinson for the In My Opinion Show. Stay focused.